Hi everyone, welcome to the Savannah Tree Foundation's holiday edition of Frequently Asked Questions. My name is Jake Henry, I'm the field manager for the Savannah Tree Foundation, and I wanted to put together a little holiday FAQ and answer some questions that we get a lot around the holidays. So pull up a chair and grab a nice hot cider and join us by our fake fire, and we're going to go over some of these questions. And we have a little helper here tonight. So the first question that we get is, should you use a real or fake Christmas tree? And this is a really good question. There are actually a lot of complexities when you're thinking about this. One of the reasons people want to get a fake tree is they say, well, we don't want to cut down real trees. And I appreciate that. But a lot of Christmas trees are grown specifically for the holidays. So these trees aren't taken from preserves or natural areas. They are grown on farms specifically for the holidays. Now, one of the challenges we have to think about is if you're concerned about your carbon footprint. This can vary quite a bit, actually. So if you reuse a plastic tree over and over and over, it will actually offset the cost of cutting down a tree. However, it's a little bit more complicated than just the carbon. We do have to think about that plastic and where it ends up eventually. It will end up in a landfill sooner or later. So we really do encourage using real trees around the holidays because they will break down and decompose eventually. And that's actually the next question on my list. What do we do with our tree once we're done with it? Well, like I said, if you have a plastic tree or any type of fake tree, we do encourage you to reuse it as much as possible. But if you have a real tree, there are a couple options. Many areas will have this program called Bring One for the Chipper. And there's one here in Savannah. And essentially what they will do is take your Christmas tree and chip it up and use it as mulch around schools, public properties, parks. And if you've heard me speak before, you know that I love mulch. It is one of the best things that we can do for trees. So we can help use this tree's life to help some other trees in your area. So keep an eye out for that. We will be posting about that on social media as well. The next question we get is, when you're looking for a real Christmas tree, what species of tree should you actually get? And that's actually another really great question. There are a lot of different types of Christmas trees out there. One of the most popular trees is the Fraser fir. This is most well known for its great smell. It has strong branches. It has these real small needles that aren't too spiky, they won't hurt you if you grab them. So definitely the most popular Christmas tree that we find here in the United States. There are a lot of other options though, such as the Leyland cypress or the Murray cypress, which is a cultivar of the Leyland cypress, or white pines. Now the Fraser fir actually doesn't grow all the way down south here in coastal Georgia. The furthest south it grows is North Carolina, so these are actually shipped in. Now, when you're talking about your carbon footprint, this is one you have to think about. It's a little bit more of a footprint, but it is the easiest to find. Now, if you're looking to shop locally, you can find Leyland cypress or Murray cypress or white pines pretty easily down here on the coast. There are multiple tree farms in the area that will grow those trees, in addition to shipping in some Fraser fir. So those are some of the options you have available to you. Now, you may have noticed some of our pets wandering around here, and that is one thing that we also get questions about around the holidays, is if trees are toxic to your pets. Now, Christmas trees, no matter what species you pick, any of the common species you find, are not toxic to animals directly, but we do want to talk about some things that might be dangerous to them. So some of them, as I mentioned, might have sharp needles, so you have to watch out for that. You don't want them to, poke their eyes on them or anything. And another common thing that can make animals sick is fertilizer. Sometimes trees will come with a sort of food packet or some sort of extra nutrients for the tree. And you do want to be mindful of what you're putting in that water at the bottom, because sometimes pets think of it as an extra water dish, and you don't want to be giving them fertilizer. That can make your pets very sick. So just be mindful of what you're putting in the water for your tree and if your animals are treating it as a water dish. Another way around that is to sort of cover the base with a cardboard cutout. That's usually a good way of discouraging animals from drinking the water at the base as well. One of the last questions that we get that's very common and is really interesting, I think, is lights and fire hazard. So trees, living trees, are obviously going to die eventually because they've been taken out of the ground, they've been cut. And one thing that happens over time is that they dry out. You can slow that down with the water at the base of the tree, but as these trees dry out, they can potentially become a fire hazard. And there are a couple ways to get around that. One is keeping your tree well watered, keep it lush as long as you can. And another way is to actually use LED lights. So traditional lights can actually generate quite a bit of heat, but modern LEDs generate very little heat, almost non-existent. And so these are a really fantastic option when you're talking about Christmas trees, so you don't have to worry nearly as much if you forget to turn it off at the end of the night. So thank you for attending our Frequently Asked Questions Holiday Edition, and everyone at STF wishes you a happy and safe holiday season.